Our calculation in that time frame puts a possible completion of a recount of all the districts at 10 days. Uh, and how did we arrive there? The the CEO's document contemplated use of 3 stations, and our proposal contemplates the use of 20 stations. The CEO's document has a boarding time of about 2 hours per box. We have reduced that number in half. And why we have done that? There are over 1,000 ballot boxes in which there are less than 200 ballots cast. In fact, there are 200 and something boxes that have less than 50 ballots cast in those boxes. As a consequence, the time for counting of those boxes could not be as burdensome as 2 hours, all things considered. Uh, the discussions that we've had today centered around the proposal that we have made, and that was juxtaposed to the proposal that was made by the Secretariat yesterday. We looked at several things. We have to now look at the physical layout. We have stuck with, more or less agreed to stick with the convention center as the venue. It is our intention to look at that venue to maximize its use in relation to either a combination of either inside and or outside for the conduct of this process. One of the things that consensus emerged on, the proposal from the Secretariat envisaged that the 3 counting tables that they proposed would count 3 different regions simultaneously. So for example, table 1 will be working on region 1, table 2 will be working on region 2, table 3, etc. I think the understanding was to have some sort of parallelism in the completion of the process. My counter proposal to that was that the number of tables that we are using, let us divide it in 2. Let us start numerically from region 1 at 1/2 of the tables, and let us start with the largest region, region 4, at the other half of the table. And those will now be reduced to a final document that have for a consideration that should reflect the views and discussions and decisions of the thing. We are hoping that that is done as soon as possible at the end of the weekend, so we can probably meet as early as possible Monday or Tuesday.
Was your 10-day time frame accepted?
It was not, because the consideration is that, like I said, it will do with the number of acceptance of the number of tables or number of concurrent counting places, which will be determined, I believe, finally when a visit is done to the convention center.
We agreed on the involvement of representatives of parties. We agreed in the GCOM officials who would be involved, the role that the CEO would play, the role that the commission would play. Those things were agreed on. So no final decision has been made on the number of stations, nor on the period required. But it has been clearly understood that that will be influenced by a number of factors. The time to count the box is still a pertinent factor. The venue and how many we can do at any one time is still a pertinent factor. And that has to take into consideration the present situation with COVID-19. Whether or not we're going to have personnel, external personnel who are going to help to oversee the process, and their number will also influence the number of operations we can carry on at any one time. So that there's still significant decision to be made based on a matrix of factors.